So, what are your thoughts on the current state of college basketball, just college athletics period with this whole NIL situation that's going on? It's just a fucking free for all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good for the players. It's tough for the fan bases because so many guys hit the transfer portal every year. I mean, you could be a team like the University of Miami and make it deep in the tournament, and then guys will just like leave and go to a new situation. But also, I just think that the college game has kind of been so how do I say this and not say it in a bad way? It's been so it's exploited players for so long. Like it's good to see people, being able to earn off of the value that they bring. Though they're not participating in the revenues that are being generated, the image and the likeness is a good thing. And so I think the state of college basketball is good. Not great because, if you're good enough as a player, you're usually going to go on to the NBA pretty quickly, usually in your first 2 years. So there's a lot of talent that could be in college right now that's in the G League or playing overseas because a lot of guys not only transfer a lot of guys into the draft very early. And so I just think that from a talent standpoint, the talent level is down because there's so many different alternatives to earn now. And guys are taking, the G League route. Some guys are going overseas. Some guys are not going to school and just kind of working out and training, waiting for that year of college, that year after high school.
What do you think about the one and done? Like, should they eliminate it and go back to allowing players to come right out of high school and be drafted?
I think so because like international players can come, they can come in,
Sure.
they don't necessarily have to have a gap year and things like that. So I think, if you're talented enough, you're good enough.
Yeah.
Get them in there early.
Yeah.
Get them in there early. Now, it's a catch-22 because a lot of times when you're young and you come in the game and you don't develop, now you're 23, 24 years old and you have no education. You can't necessarily make money in the league anymore. And so there's an opportunity for you to have to reinvent yourself down the line. And that can, cause mental health issues, identity issues, substance abuse issues, and just guys trying to figure it out because their brain is still developing.
Yeah.
So I think, you should be able to come out of high school right now.
So the dynamic's changing. I mean, Cooper Flagg made a comment the other day. I know you made some commentary on it about him possibly coming back next year. Would you advise him to do that? I mean, he could probably get, who knows how much money he would get to come back, or do you tell him just go in the draft, you'd be the first pick?
Yeah, I think he should go in the draft. If he wants to go back to Duke in the summertime, continue his education and, get the college experience, go back in the summers. North Carolina is beautiful in the summertimes, but the only way is down. Like you're pretty much consensus number one right now. There's two young players coming up behind him that could potentially be number one pick. AJ Dubansky, Dubanza. And then there's another kid who they ranked ahead of him.
I just saw that today.
So there's a lot of talent in that year behind. But I just think the timing is really good for Cooper right now to go straight to the league.
What's impressive about Cooper, he's only 17 years old.
He's young, man.
That's unbelievable.
He's young.
He's only 17 years old.
He's young.
Where do you see him as a generational type talent? Like generational type talent?
I don't think he's a generational talent.
Okay.
But I think he'll be a really good player. I think he'll be
who's somebody you would compare him to in the league?
Right now, I would compare him to like a Jason Tatum.
Okay, got it.
In a sense, where you're 6'8", 6'9", can dribble, pass, shoot. He plays with the motor. So like Jason Tatum to me is not a generational talent, but he is a superstar player.
Yeah, top 5 player.
Yeah, it's not many generational talents in the game right now. I think he is somebody who can be a multiple-time All-Star. I think he can be a one option. And I think he can help grow the game, especially here in our country.
Have you seen Cooper play at all?
Yeah, I have.
What are your thoughts on him?
Tom Chambers.
Okay. All right. I like
back in the day on that one.
Well, I dig deep when I have to.
Tom Chambers.
I got the receipts.
Yeah.
And the vault. But, yeah, that's why I see he's real good. I agree with Keon. I don't think, people use the word GOAT and generational way too loosely. Like that happens every Muhammad Ali generation. So I would agree with Keon's assessment on that. I think he's he's got definitely all-star, NBA repetitive all-star potential, potentially a Hall of Famer. but to say generational, like LeBron, you could see was going to be generational.
Generational, yeah.
And I think that was clearly
Yeah.
obvious to anyone at that age. At 15, he was like, he was really, he's a real polished product. LeBron, he was when he got in, like, just everything for the media, everything. He's been put together. That he's the model,
right?
For how to do it in today's world,
right? He is the model. So I asked you about the NIL, but the transfer portal. What are your thoughts on the transfer portal and these kids picking up every year and transferring out?
It's a catch-22. Because a lot of times, it puts some accountability on coaches to develop you. We were talking about Vince Wilfork earlier. Sometimes, coaches can hold you back and give older players an opportunity. When I went to college, I didn't come in as a starter, though I was more talented than the person before me. But he was more seasoned, had more experience and things like that. Eventually, I was able to, kind of take the position. So I do like it because I always look at it from the lens of a player. And if one situation isn't working, you don't want to have to sit out. You might be a clash of styles. You might be homesick. All those different things you can factor into it. So I don't like it to a degree, but I do like it because it puts some accountability with the coaches.
It's a catch-22, man. I just don't know how you can build a program of consistency and culture. Because one year you can have a phenomenal year. Look at Florida State football, right? I always go back to them. And then the next year they go 2-9. And they're a product of the portal. They missed on some guys, and that's what happens. So it's hard to see. And, you get coaches like Nick Saban dropping out, Larinaga over at University of Miami because it's way too much. You got to re-recruit your players every single year. So that's the problem. I wish they had more parameters on the portal. You get maybe like one time you can change schools, but there's players changing 4 times in their career, 5 times in their career. It's just wild. Yeah. And from a fan perspective, man, it's just tough. Like, it's hard for me to keep up with Florida State now. Like, I don't know half of the roster that's on there.
Right.
And for me, college football was always about who's the next guy that's going to come up, the next underclassman that's going to take over the program. And now it's like it's year to year.
Yeah, it is. But also it's like that for the coaching staffs too, because they can take your scholarship too.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly. Yeah. Right. So like I said, it's a catch-22. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I enjoy sports so much that, sometimes the transfer portal is good and gives a guy an opportunity to go to a situation where the playing style might be a better fit for him. The money opportunities might be different for him and better for him. So I just like the freedom that players have now to, maximize the short window.
Nev, so when you were in the system, did you get in the transfer portal?
Often. It took me 18 months, but no one wanted to let me go. It's crazy, man. Like, these prisons say they hated me, but really they love me, man. They didn't want to let me go. Man, when I had to go through the move around, you have no idea. You always got jokes, man.
Little something. How did you travel?
Listen, Andy, the truth of the matter is, my paperwork was solid. So when you got a running game and a defense, you could travel.
Facts. Facts.
You know what I mean?
Fact.
Yeah.
Paperwork is important.
It's
Forget
super
it,
important.